And now to the highlight of the day, the State of the City address. Mayor Indya Kincannon is the 69th mayor of the city of Knoxville. And while she is in her third year in office, this is her first in-person State of the City as our mayor. Mayor Kincannon is not just a bold leader who selflessly makes tough decisions for the betterment of all of Knoxvillians. She is also someone I'm proud to call a friend. Mayor Kincannon has been serving our city and her community long before becoming our mayor. She spent 10 years as a member and chair of the Knox County Board of Education. She's a past president of the Beaumont Magnet PTA. She is a past president of the West High School Foundation. She was a 10-year member of the Project Grad Board and an former officer of the Fourth and Guild Neighborhood Organization. Needless to say, it is evident that Mayor Kincannon is committed to making our neighborhoods, our schools, and our city be the best they can be. Under Mayor Kincannon's guidance, our city did not stop services during the pandemic. In fact, the city has emerged stronger and more resilient than ever before. So without further ado, please welcome our mayor and my good friend, Indya Kincannon.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's so wonderful to be here in front of you today. Thank you, Lauren, and thank you all for being here today for my first in-person State of the City luncheon. I also want to acknowledge Rhea Carmen, our Knoxville Poet Laureate, and Melody Delali, Knoxville Youth Poet Laureate, for that beautiful tribute to our city's strength and resilience. And indeed, we are still standing. We are still standing. We have had an incredibly challenging 2.5 years. We've gotten through the worst of COVID. We've pulled together after the tragic deaths of young people from gun violence. And now we are coping with supply chain challenges and the worst inflation since the 1970s. But Knoxville is resilient, and through it all, we have stayed true to our mission and values. And because of that, we have a lot to celebrate today. We are fortunate to have a history of dedicated leaders in Knoxville. Councilwoman Ryder already recognized you, but I want to reiterate how glad I am to see you here in person today. Thank you. I want to start by welcoming everyone back to the historic St. Mary's campus, a special place born from a desire to serve the people of East Tennessee. And in just a few short months, that tradition of service will live on when we open the new home for our police and fire departments this fall. I'm super excited about that. This would not be possible without Mayor Madeline Rogero for initiating this transformation. When the hospital closed in 2018, this property could have become an abandoned, blighted property. Instead, Mayor Rogero found a perfect solution. Thanks to her leadership and City Council's continued support, we are adapting this historic site to fill a new purpose, creating a much-needed public safety campus on land that already has sidewalks, that already has streets, lights, and infrastructure. So thank you, Mayor Rogero, for a job well done. St. Mary's holds a special spot in the hearts of so many Knoxvillians. With a show of hands, how many of you were born at St. Mary's, or had a child here, or maybe worked at the hospital? Wow, that's a lot of people. These memories and that legacy is so important, and that's why we have carefully preserved the original building behind us today, many of the memorials, and even some of the bricks. In fact, we have set aside nearly 1,000 bricks for anyone wanting to take a little piece of St. Mary's history home with them today. They will be available immediately following our luncheon over there. I also want to take a moment to thank the Sisters of Mercy who dedicated St. Mary's on this very day 92 years ago. Their legacy continues with a mobile clinic parked here today that brings healthcare to underserved people across East Tennessee. Thank you, sisters. Please raise your hands, sisters, for all of your work. We are so grateful for all your work and sharing your stories with us. The sisters are joined today by students and leaders of the LMU School of Nursing and the LMU School of Dentistry. And when all is said and done, LMU will have invested nearly $50 million on this campus to support the healthcare workers of the future. So a big thank you to Pete DeBusk and the entire LMU team. And while the city of Knoxville is not in the healthcare business, we know that our community desperately needs more access to care, particularly mental health services. That's why I'm so proud to partner with the state of Tennessee, Mayor Jacobs in Knox County, the McNabb Center, and all three of our local healthcare systems, UTMC, Covenant Health, and Tenova, on yet another component to this campus, the conversion of the former surgery center on the south side of the campus into an urgent care facility for the neighborhood and a behavioral health center for those experiencing mental health crises. A special thanks. That's going to be a game changer, and I want to especially thank Senator Becky Massey and Senator Richard Briggs, who worked at this site for many years as a surgeon, and thank you for all your help. Look what we can do when we work together to make good things happen for our community. Thank you. It is exciting to celebrate the revitalization of the St. Mary's campus, but my main job today is to let you know the state of the city. And here I have good news. Knoxville is on a roll. Our neighborhoods are strong, our economy is vibrant, people want to visit Knoxville, invest in Knoxville, and move to our city. And yet, like any city, we also face challenges. We have too many people living in poverty, too many people struggling to find affordable housing. We have too many families mourning loved ones lost to gun violence. The people of Knoxville expect our city government to be an active player in seeking solutions to regional challenges, and we know there is power in partnerships. Thankfully, we have an excellent city council who are true partners in governing and problem solving. Elected on a nonpartisan basis, our council members are diverse in outlook, they act with civility and respect, and most importantly, they act effectively. I so appreciate their support and appreciate the vision we share for our city. Would all members of City Council please stand to be recognized? Thank you all. Thanks to the support and partnership of City Council, we have much to celebrate. Let's start with our employees. I am so honored to work with the almost 1,600 men and women who dedicate their time to serving the residents of Knoxville and supporting a quality of life we can all be proud of. They patrol our neighborhoods, pave our streets, patch potholes, maintain our parks, put out fires, and so much more. Whether you live in West Hills, Holston Hills, Harrell Hills, or Colonial Village, whether you're visiting or doing business in Knoxville, city employees make our lives better. Our employees keep our city running 24/7, 365 days. Even during the height of a global pandemic, our crews never halted work. That alone is worth a round of applause. I've always said that public safety is job one, and that remains more true today than ever. What is also clear is that public safety is not just the job of police officers alone, but the work of the entire community. When we were experiencing unprecedented homicides, I asked for emergency funds to help stop the violence. Our city council stepped up big time. With those funds, we created the city's first ever Office of Community Safety under the leadership of LaKenya Middlebrook to harness the power of partnerships in addressing violent crime. We've awarded hundreds of thousands in grants to area nonprofits working to interrupt violence in our city, and we are about to award even more similar work throughout the summer months when our children are out of school and most vulnerable. We started Crime Stoppers, an anonymous tip line program that has, in just 1 year, helped solve over 3 dozen cases. And we are working with local nonprofits like SEED and the Community Mediation Center to train and equip a team of street violence interrupters, folks like Denzel Grant, Wando Stacy, Nicole Daniels, and many others who are ready to respond in a crisis to help break the cycle of violence. Thank you for dedicating your time to help us find solutions. We all saw during the pandemic how access to high-speed, high-quality internet became a defining factor in one's ability to work, learn, connect with loved ones, and even to access health care. That's why it is so exciting that KUB, with the support of City Council, will offer municipal broadband service to every electric customer, with the first home scheduled to come online this year. I am especially proud of the city and KUB's commitment to bridging the digital divide. This budget supports the Student Internet Access Program so low-income students aren't left behind. Another example of the power of partnerships. I see you, school board members, we're doing that. Of course, I also want to mention the multi-use stadium and bringing baseball back to Knoxville. I've always said that I would support this project if the benefits outweighed the costs. Thanks to the power of this public-private partnership, they most certainly do. This is a huge win for our city, and especially for those who have suffered from the legacy of urban renewal. The total estimated economic impact of this stadium project is $480 million. In sharing the cost with Knox County and Randy Boyd, the owner of the soon-to-be Knoxville Smokies, we have kept the city's yearly commitment low and manageable. This project will connect East Knoxville to downtown, breathing new life and energy into another corner of our city. The stadium is a huge win for Knoxville. But often, some of the biggest wins in our city are not the ones you hear about. I'm talking about the heroes in our community. People like Traffic System Supervisor Philip Reyes. At 2 a.m. Saturday, March 12th, while most of us were sleeping peacefully, Philip and his crews worked in the midst of heavy snowfall to address 57 broken, twisted, or flashing traffic signals, successfully repairing all signals by midday so that we could stay safe on the roads. I'm talking about people like Police Officer Nick Adams, who on February 9th arrived at the scene of a crash to discover a driver trapped in a burning truck. Officer Adams climbed into the bed of the truck, helped the driver cut off his seatbelt, and quickly led him to safety, escaping the wreckage just moments before the truck was engulfed in flames. And I'm talking about Master Firefighter Justin Engel. Last August, as floodwaters rose rapidly on Paper Mill Drive, he heard a woman scream, "Jesus, help me!" and he jumped into action and into the water. As her vehicle was being overtaken by the rushing water, Engel cut through the nearby brush, jumped toward the woman, and was able to get a rescue line around her just before the water went over her head. With help from other firefighters, they were both pulled to safety. Philip Reyes, Nick Adams, and Justin Engel, would you please stand? Now, if I could ask all firefighters, police officers, and general government employees to please stand to be recognized, because you're all our heroes. Thank you. These are the faces behind so many acts of bravery, hard work, and selflessness in our city. We are grateful for them. One of my core goals for this year's budget is to support and retain these heroes in our city and to recruit the heroes of tomorrow. This very site is part of that through a new partnership that teams Fulton High School students with our first responders. The benefits of this program will be far-reaching. Let's take a minute to hear from kids already taking a new criminal justice class and the first responders they will soon be working with. Please turn your attention to the screens.
suited to protect and serve their community and someone that has grown up in the community.
If we could get more officers from Knoxville, it would be, it'd be a blessing for the city.
This is the first year of criminal justice at Fulton. It's a new class and the interest is very high. The kids are really excited about it.
I like the idea of being a public servant.
The more and more I look into it, the deeper it gets, the more I'm interested in it.
Real life is, I see it, I understand it, I get it. This is how it works, and that public safety complex is going to do just that for us. And the best part is we can walk out the door and walk across the street and go see those things.
Being right across the street, it'll be a perfect chance for us to connect with those kids that want to do it in that class, and sometimes even go sit in the class and just, give them our experience and tell them some stories.
If we can explain the topics, but then go show them this is what it looks like in real life, that's gonna stick with the students a lot longer.
I've heard friends, they see me taking it and they're like, oh, I really want to take that class. It sounds really cool. So I think more kids will want to take it.
Being able to be there for people, help in some way, shape, or form.
Youth is our future. We'd love to get the youth to become officers and become mentors.
It's a special feeling to know that you're part of the community, but now you're on the front lines of protecting the community and serving.
Could everyone involved with these partnerships please stand? The students, Fulton High School staff, first responders who are involved in this program. Thank you. This is proof positive. We must continue to build and support the heroes of tomorrow. We must all strive to continue the positive momentum, and we must provide quality services and infrastructure for all who live and work here. At the same time, our population is growing. Building permits are up by over 10%. Residents are calling on city services more than ever. Police calls alone are up 12%. We face skyrocketing inflation. We have an acute number of unfilled positions across departments. This spring, we could not recruit enough qualified applicants to hold a police academy. The American Rescue Plan has been a welcome Band-Aid the last 2 years, but is only temporary relief and cannot be used for salaries. So, like every administration in recent history, we are at a crossroads. We must face the realities and make difficult choices. Do we scale back city services, undermining our safety and quality of life? Do we stop building and maintaining core infrastructure and risk shortchanging our future? Or do we consider new revenue to fill the gap? This is not an easy decision. I have heard your requests for more police officers on our streets. I have heard your requests for quality roads, sidewalks, for more greenways and top-notch parks in all neighborhoods. And I've heard your requests to protect Knoxville as an affordable city. I want all these things too. And I'm not willing to sacrifice Knoxville's safety and quality of life by being penny wise and pound foolish. We need high-quality core services and infrastructure to keep Knoxville's positive momentum going. We can't print money, and we can't go into the red, and we cannot use our savings account for recurring expenses. That is why I am proposing a 50-cent increase in our property tax rate. This will generate the new revenue needed to maintain core services and support our first responders and public works employees, while also ensuring we can invest in the infrastructure our city needs to thrive in the years to come. Remember that right now, our Knox County Property Assessor, John Whitehead, is wrapping up the state's required property reappraisal. And although we are still waiting on the estimated certified tax rate, by August, we anticipate that even with this increase, the equalized rate will be the lowest tax rate in the city since at least 1974. So please know that this decision was not made lightly. We have tightened our belts and have looked at areas to cut back, but we must meet the needs of our city. And my budget proposal is a path forward that meets those needs. I want to share a few highlights with you. As a service organization, the vast majority of the budget goes to employee salaries and benefits. Unfortunately, those salaries have been lagging for some time, especially for our first responders, and acute staffing shortages put our safety and quality of life at risk. We are short over 50 police officers. We have almost 50 vacancies in public service, and more than 250 employees could retire today. City employees who save lives and provide essential services have been doing more with less. Their commitment is unwavering. But working short-staffed is not safe and it's not sustainable. It is past time to address this challenge, but we needed to know the real numbers so we could plan for real change. That is why we hired an outside firm to do a comprehensive study analyzing city wages. It revealed that on average, City of Knoxville employees are about 10% below market. No wonder we are facing challenges in hiring and retention. When we pay thousands of dollars to train a police officer, only to lose them to a higher paying job a few years into their career, that is not good fiscal stewardship. The budget I'm presenting today includes $16 million to bring our employees up to fair market compensation. That includes paying all full-time employees a minimum of $15 an hour. This investment will bring our police officers, our firefighters, and other essential workers up to the market level wages across the board and put us on a path to being fully staffed. And these proposed raises are for the rank and file. They're not for me, they're not for City Council, they're not for the executive team. This is not only the right thing to do for our hardworking employees, it is the right thing to do for all of us who work and live here and rely on the city to keep neighborhoods safe and livable. Our first responders always have our back, and now it's time that we've got theirs. Responsible leaders should not only deal with what's immediately in front of them, they must plan for the future. This is especially true when it comes to infrastructure. To neglect investment in our roads, storm sewers, and parks would risk our community's future as a great place to live. It's not a responsible option. That's why this budget includes a robust capital plan of over $77 million to make sure we are investing in the infrastructure needed for long-term economic stability and resilience. I call the capital proposal the Parks, Pavement, and Pipes Plan. So during the pandemic, our parks got more use than ever. I'm proud that we were recently ranked the most accessible park system in the state, with nearly 51% of all residents living less than a 10-minute walk from a park. This budget keeps our commitment to green spaces with more than $10 million to support improvements and maintenance at parks across our city, including Lonsdale Park, Lakeshore Park, Williams Creek Golf Course, and Augusta Quarry at Fort Dickerson. Thank you to all our partners who help make these outdoor spaces accessible to all and places that we are proud of. Now to pavement. Knoxvilles expect good roads and safe roads for everyone who uses them, whether driving, walking, or biking. Our multimodal roadway infrastructure is critical, and building it and maintaining it is a big driver of our budget. This proposal includes $10.8 million for safety investments such as repairs to roads, bridges, guardrails, signage, signals, and other basic safety assets across the city. This is the money to fill those pesky potholes. I'm also recommending $8.6 million for transportation infrastructure, including improvements for bicyclists and pedestrians at specific high-priority locations. And as someone who loves walking in our Knoxville neighborhoods, and because today is Earth Day, I'm also thrilled that this budget invests over $1 million to support pedestrian infrastructure and improvements, including funds for traffic calming, curb cuts, and sidewalk design and repair across our city neighborhoods. And finally, pipes, AKA stormwater. Another major driver of our capital budget. This budget includes a $20 million investment in our stormwater system. And this is not just about the pipes. This is an investment in the resilience of our community, a way to make our neighborhoods and roadways safer and less susceptible to flooding and sinkholes. I started this afternoon talking about the power of partnerships, and I want to come back to that theme to talk about one more key component of the proposed budget, affordable housing. We are so fortunate to be a city that people want to move to, and that includes students who go to the University of Tennessee. And yet, as more people choose to make Knoxville home, the shortage of affordable housing has become even more acute. Housing affordability is the #1 challenge facing many Knoxvillians. The city does not build housing, so how can we help? The power of partnerships. This time last year, I convened a task force of realtors, home builders, bankers, Justice Knox advocates, Councilwoman Lynn Fugit, and with all of council support, we created the Affordable Housing Fund and committed $50 million over the next 10 years. That's good news. Thank you to everyone on that task force. This year, my budget proposal proposes nearly $10 million to that fund, including $1.6 million to finish First Creek at Austin Homes, $2.5 million for the Affordable Rental Development Fund, $4.2 million for Transforming Western Heights, and $1.5 million for permanent supportive housing. These investments are going to create 2,100 new affordable homes in our city. Our economy, our community needs more housing, period. Housing for all types of families and all types of incomes. And while housing is a regional challenge, the city of Knoxville will remain at the table, doing our part to make sure we remain a community where families can afford to thrive. Okay, so as you leave here today, remember Philip Reyes, Nick Adams, and Justin Engel, and all of the other heroes in our city, and ask yourself, do I have their backs? I do, and this budget reflects that. It also reflects my unwavering commitment to providing you with quality services. Maybe it's just as simple as what my father used to say to me. If you take good care of your people, they'll take good care of you. Thank you for being here today, and have a great afternoon.
Thank you, Mayor Kincannon.